some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just...
Good morning, everyone. It is the 17th of June, which means we survived Monday to wake up to Tuesday, which, you know, is a blessing. Although it's raining here, I looked at the forecast this week. If you're in Indiana, we might need to start building an ark. Now, I'm not good at constructionology, but I'm a great supervisor. Also, I don't float, so I'm going to have my water wings on. That being said, it does look like it's going to be, you know, pretty hectic weather-wise. I'm not a meteorologist. Well, not yet. I mean, that's after I have a couple drinks in me. I think if we've learned anything from Canton, you have to always be somewhat tipsy to function. I don't know. Sobriety is what I hope we all learned from Canton. Or just stay out of Canton. That being said, let's get into the news today. Kind of a sad story to begin with, especially with, you know, this actor passing away just weeks after his big screen debut. But at least he got to, you know, see this movie come out. I will go ahead and say I have not watched the new live action Lilo and Stitch. I think all live action remakes are mostly god awful. So I wouldn't pay to go see this. That being said, this isn't a comment on actors or anything other than Rachel Zegler, who is awful at being a human. This is more that I've already seen the cartoon. I love the cartoon, and Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite movies, and I don't think that they will ever do the original justice, so could we just leave it alone? That being said, I do feel very bad for this, you know, actor. Actor David H.K. Bell, who made his big screen debut in the live-action Lilo and Stitch remake last month, has sadly passed away. Now, the actor's sister, Jalene Kalani Bell, announced the shocking news on a post on Facebook. It's with a heavy heart that I must share that my sweet, generous, talented, funny, brilliant, and handsome little brother, David H.K. Bell, will spend today in the company of our Heavenly Father, she wrote on Sunday, June 15th. I've been waiting for the words and mindset to properly express the joy of a human and a prince of a man he was, but pushed my hand this morning by a pre-scheduled Father's Day newsletter honoring the men in our lives. Now, Jaylene noted that her brother's sudden passing came just 2 short weeks after he treated the family to a screening of his new movie. So very sad, but I'm glad he got to share that moment with his family. You can't buy memories like that. Those are priceless. And if anything, stories like this remind me to really, you know, capture those moments, be in the moment with my family, because we never know when those, you know, moments are going to get taken away or they're going to be our last moments. He always was and will remain a bright shining star, she continued. He recently made it onto the big screen with an iconic Lilo and Stitch moment. He planned ahead and purchased the best seats in the house for all of us to go together on opening night 2 short weeks ago, Jaylene said. Now, Belle was credited in the Lilo and Stitch live-action adaptation as the character Big Hawaiian Dude, which, hey, seems like it fits. I like it. The actor's representative, Lashana Downey, told TMZ that she had only learned of Belle's passing through social media. She called Belle a gentle giant and called his passing both heartbreaking and sad. I'm only learning like you through social media, Downey told the outlet. This is both heartbreaking and sad. He was one of my best talent people and embodied the true meaning of aloha, a gentle giant. And he seemed like just an awesome, fun dude. I mean, I don't know him. I haven't watched the movie, but you know how you can kind of, like, not in a hippie way, but sense people through pictures? He just seems comfy and okay in life. And goodness, as someone who's been more anxious about being a, actual human my entire life, being comfy and happy in who you are is priceless. So just be happy with who you are. You're weird. It's okay. We're all weird. So it seems like, again, a terribly sad thing. I'm glad he got to have this special moment with his family, and I hope that they are remembering him and sharing those memories with each other, to get through this time, and that they have support and, funeral potatoes brought by, uh, well, yeah. Like I said, I'm no Miss Cleo or that Long Island woman with the really scary hair and nails. I'm no psychic or psychologist. Well, just in time for you to plan your vacations, apparently we've decided to make a list of the most dangerous beaches in the US. Not sure if Indiana Beach is on that, but it is Lake Michigan. So I'm just going to throw out there that, Indiana Beach might not be the most ocean-like experience you'll ever have. It's still fun. Let's see. While many vacationers are ready to throw on their bathing suits and slather on SPF 1000, to head to the beach for some fun this summer, researchers at Tide Chart, a leading tide forecasting platform, are warning travelers to steer clear of these 10 dangerous beaches. Now, what did they kind of try to figure out about what makes a beach risky? Well, shark attacks, surf-related deaths, and hurricanes, of course. I was going to say seeing or trying to get a bikini on, or not looking at a bikini, or getting burned. I always hate when the sand gets so bacon hot, and those weird little sand fleas, those things are creepy as hell. That would scare me away from a beach, but there you go. Now, they analyzed over 500 shores in the U.S. and determined that Florida has the most frightening beaches. The 10 beaches that made the cut were given a score out of 100. Now, New Smyrna Beach snagged the number one spot with a score of 76.92. They said that this beach, which lies on the northwestern tip of, Florida, is most likely to get hit by hurricanes because of this location. And to make matters worse, the coast has earned itself the title of shark bite capital of the world since it has the highest likelihood of shark attacks. New Smyrna Beach also experienced 12, surfing fatalities in 2010 to 2024. Again, a popularity of a beach, more dense population is going to mean you're going to have more accidents. So if this is a very popular beach, sounds like, but yeah, I hear most shark bites. That's a beach not on my list anymore. That being said, maybe it has really fun, surfy, tubular waves, dude. I don't know. Coming in at number 2 is Laguna Beach with a 6.775 rating. Now, the Panama City Beach has the most surf-related deaths at 39 of the analyzed beaches and 9 shark attacks. Daytona Beach came in third because of the powerful currents, where 27 have, lost their lives in surfing deaths and 70 shark attacks. Basically, we're not going to Florida, y'all. Just never. Miami Beach, okie dokie, because again, we're just not going to Florida, y'all. The India Atlantic Ocean Beach Park, considered the smallest beach boardwalk in the world, has a 44.64 for 9 surf fatalities and 30 shark attacks. So there you go. Looks like the safest place to be is in fact Indiana Beach. I stand corrected. If you want to, have a safe holiday, go to a lake. Unless Nessie and Champy are real, and then we're all screwed. We're just all screwed. Now, I never thought that I would live to see a day where I called Final Form Jesus for Barbra Streisand. But we have a Barbra Streisand Schrodinger's box paradox that I didn't think anyone had on their bingo cards, so
Teague McCrell, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, Final Form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
where do I even begin with this? See, y'all, I keep telling you, this is how we're going to get Final Form Jesus, and I am in no way repentant enough to get into heaven right now. So I need Barbara, I need you to work with me. Look, people are testing the Jesus in me too much lately for the rapture to be upon us. So could you please stop tempting fate? For the love of all that is holy. Barbra Streisand is still unsure. She's kind of got a Schrodinger's slept with Warren Beatty thing. Yeah, there you go. So for Barbra Streisand, she still can't recall whether or not she slept with one of Hollywood's most infamous Lotharios, Warren Beatty. Ugh. Now, Streisand first mentioned the gap in her memory in her 2023 memoir, My Name is Barbara. I'm verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't care, personally, what she did or didn't do. Wow. Okay, again, didn't have this on my bingo. I'm not a physicist or anything, but I don't even think Stephen Hawking's had a Barbra Streisand effect Schrodinger's box kind of, or Schrodinger's cat kind of mesh here. I think we might need Arca to come in and do the physicsonomy of how many pop culture boxes this breaks, or my head. But she's recently doubled down. I know I slept in bed with him, but I can't remember if we did anything. Swear to God I can't. There's certain things I block out. Ouch, Warren Beatty. Ow. Ow. That has to sting. Out. Would someone send him like a cookie bouquet or something? Because I feel bad for Warren Beatty because Barbara's like, look, I blocked it out. I'm gonna have to do a Prince of Tides kind of thing if I have to remember. I was Emmy nominated for that. I honestly I don't remember. I do think she was in Prince of Tides. I watched it at a disturbingly young age because my mom liked Lifetime, or she rented it, and I didn't realize it whoosh, right over my head. I was like, I don't understand. Is he a prince? Where's the princess? Is the king? Anything with Gary Busey as a lead is kind of weird romantically for me. But there you go. So if you had Barbra Streisand not remembering if she slept with Warren Beatty as coming out on June 17th, 2025, I'd go ahead and buy a lottery ticket. So there you go. Now, if South Park would please redeem or redo its Barbara Streisand episode with Trapper Keeper and now this, it would just make my day. Please. I need another South Park making fun of everyone. In why and what? I have so many questions and not enough answers and more questions. 14,000-year-old mummified puppies were in fact not dogs at all, new research shows. Okay, why are we mummifying puppies? Two well-preserved Ice Age puppies were found in northern Siberia, but might not actually be dogs at all, according to new research. Still covered in fur and naturally preserved in the ice for thousands of years, the Tiamat puppies, as they're known, contain hints of what their last meals were in their stomach, including meat from a woolly rhinoceros and feathers from a small bird called a wagtail. I mean, sounds like Fryberto to me. If you added foil and something unedible that looks like goo, he'd be right there. Now, previously thought to be early domesticated dogs or tamed wolves living near humans, the animals' remains were found near woolly mammoth bones that had been burned and cut by humans, suggesting that they lived near a site where humans, prepared the mammoths and kind of were forming that dog-like symbiotic relationship. But by looking at their DNA from gut contents and chemical signatures in the bones, teeth, and soft tissues, researchers now think that the animals were more wolf puppies that had no evidence of interacting with people, but came along, the old butchering site because it smells like food. So there you go. Now, neither of the mummified wolf pups, believed to be sisters, show signs of having been attacked or injured, indicated that they probably died when their den collapsed and trapped them for more than 14,000 years. So it could have been triggered by a landslide that occurred in the area. But it is interesting how they're able to take these really well-preserved remains and kind of do isotope tracing and all that stuff. Yeah, I would think they still seem like puppies. I mean, I thought maybe they were going to say like they were long furry ferrets or something, but no. I mean, they're still puppies, just not puppies that humans were trying to, make not eat their trash. That being said, I have thought about my, eventual reincarnation should that be an option. And it's either going to be manatee or a cat. Unless I have an option to be a dog. And then I think I'd be a corgi. Because it's just, they're hilarious. Actually, I'd probably be a husky because I'd want to talk back. Yeah, I'd have a lot of talking back. Never mind. Mr. Mo's like, you'd be a parrot. I'm like, yeah, most likely. And now to Lord Chippy, because unfortunately, crime happens, justice is a journey, but at least sometimes Lord Chippy awaits for at least some stories, because there's a doozy in here.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
In what has to be just a devastating miscarriage, at least in the eyes of the family. Look, I get that there are going to be laws in place as I go through this article of a Michigan family left devastated after a teen who killed their son in a 100-mile-per-hour crash avoids jail. So I realize that there are going to be, laws. A judge isn't just going to, start off saying screw the family. but I get the very human emotion that this family is feeling, that they have been, not only miscarried with justice, but with fate and losing their child, getting no recourse. So we'll dig into this, but on the outset, I do want to say that it's not like, I'm sure the entire justice system went kaput. A heartbroken Michigan family was left in disbelief after the driver who ended the life of their son in a 105-mile-per-hour crash during his college winter break was given a light sentence that allows him to avoid jail time. Kiernan Teague, 18, who was initially charged with second-degree murder for killing Flynn McCrell in a deadly crash in November 2023, had the charge reduced to manslaughter with motor vehicle last year. Now, he was 16 at the time of the crash and charged with an adult designation, meaning that the judge could sentence him both as a juvenile, as an adult, or create a blended sentence. All right, whatever I just said about the judge not being at fault here, F that. Having read this, I'm not saying lock him up and throw away the key, but you need to have some damned consequences. According to the Detroit Free Press, that's what the judge could have done. He could have, given him a juvenile sentence, an adult, or make an amalgamation of the two. Now, Judge Mark McCroy opted to sentence the teen to serve probation at Level 2 Juvenile Placement Facility, which is an out-of-home residential facility, on Friday. So he has to go to the ranch like Dr. Phil? Are you kidding me? Okay. He has to go to, the Tin Soldiers, Boys Reform Camp? Okay. Now, his time at the facility will be determined by his progress, allowing him to be released on probation once he completes his treatment, according to the Detroit Free Press. Now, if he is found to violate any term of his probation, he will be sentenced as an adult to 19 to 38 months to be served in a Wayne County detention facility. Now, the light sentence has left McElroy's family outraged with the justice system. Do you know how much pain and energy and suffering it is just to have no justice and still have no justice? I've spent a year and a half and I've waited for that. McCrell's heartbroken mother, spoke out. Ann Vanker told WVID outside the courtroom on Friday. And look at this, promising young man, a little ginger too, which we kind of match, although he's natural and this is whatever me and Maybelline decide it is. Absolutely just ridiculous for them to have to wait for a year to have this whole thing, and then he gets to go to what, bad boy camp? Yes, Wolfram is okay. He is doing some training, so he had to step back on Modly Mod duties for this week, but he will be back. Now, as for, the boy who took away her son, Wenger says once again he's not been held accountable for his actions. It's cunning, manipulative, criminal individual who just once again was not held accountable for taking my son. So no, his fake tears are disgusting. Now, his brother, Thaddeus McCrell Jr., told the court before Teague's sentencing that he was robbed of a brother. I was robbed of seeing him graduate. I was robbed of being his best man. I was robbed of meeting his children, he said. His father, Thad McCrell, told the judge everything is dim since his son passed away in this reckless driving crash. Now, Teague, who was a neighbor and friend of McCrell, had picked him up from his parents' home in Grosse Pointe, a suburb of Detroit, on November 17th, while he was at home for college over Thanksgiving break. However, just minutes after picking him up in a BMW X3 M series, I'm guessing this is a very fast and very ridiculously overpowered car for a 16-year-old to be driving. I'm not a carologist, though, but I'm hearing this is bringing like a dangerous a dangerously overpowered car for a little 16-year-old who's new to driving. Now, he lost control of the vehicle while traveling at 105 miles per hour in a 25 miles per hour zone, crashing into a utility pole and then a tree, splitting the car in two. Now, McCrell, a standout freshman swimmer at the University of Dayton, unfortunately passed away on impact. Teague was transported to a nearby hospital with serious injuries, but did survive. Now, he had a history of speeding and reckless driving before the crash, using data from a GPS tracking app, Life 360. Yes, my kids have been caught speeding on that, and yes, we have talked about that. Okay, I was wondering because it seemed like a fairly, sporty car. I'm not a BMW person, but it seemed like once they add the X's and stuff, it seems like it goes into... So he has a history of this. So his parents knew he couldn't be trusted with a car. Again, parents, I sat down and told my daughters that every time you get behind a car, every choice you make could land you in jail. That is what, I mean, not to that extent, but basically to that extent. You drive recklessly, that's you. Do you want to, tell someone, do you want to have to look at someone's family and say, I'm sorry I took your relative, I was texting? I got really, really, down and gritty with them as far as what being unattentive, what, making that split second wrong choice could really mean for them. So I don't know why other parents don't do that. Yes, is it scary? Do I want them to be a little bit scared? Do I want them to, think about my face or having to talk to, a victim's family? Yes, if it's going to stop them from being a jackass and taking someone else's family member, I want them to be focused on driving as much as they can when they're listening to whatever they call music now. I don't know. When my girls drive me, I make a point not to say anything about what's on the radio because they are inviting me into their space, into their cars, but I don't get their music. I really, really don't. Now, despite being aware of their son's, reckless driving, investigators were able to unearth text indicating that Teague's mother, Elizabeth, was aware that her son was careless behind the wheel, even calling him out for speeding in a text message just 2 months before the wreck. Now, despite knowing all of this, they still let him use her brand new BMW. McCrell's parents compared, the parents' behavior to that of the parents of Oxford High School unaliver Ethan Crumbley. Now, that actually, these parents, I feel like, are more liable than the Crumbley parents. The foreknowledge of their son's reckless behavior was actually more clearly identifiable and documented than in the Ethan Crumbley case. I know I might have a little bit of a different opinion, but I would say that these parents of this particular child is actually these parents are much more identifiably liable with the foreknowledge of what their son was doing versus the Crumbleys. So basically stating that she was sitting on a ticking time bomb, knowing he was out of control, yet she basically gets him, a high-powered car. It was like handing him a force multiplier. Now, Venker says she is unaware of Teague's driving habit or home life until her son was taken and the investigation was launched. However, in December 2024, Wayne County prosecutors declined to charge the teen's mother, according to the Detroit Free Press. Now, during Friday's sentencing hearing, the teen did address the court, saying he was remorseful for his actions. "My heart is profoundly heavy with grief, regret, and remorse," he said. "What pains me most is that I know that any pain I've experienced is nothing compared to Finn's loved ones, especially his parents, sister, brother, and family have experienced." Yeah, you still need to pay for your crime. You still need to atone. I don't know what going to the bad boy ranch is going to do. In an infuriating, just cherry on the top of this turd sandwich, this douche canoe, this absolute, I hope they find him, atop a fire ant hill covered in honey, with that Pooh Bear, but the Pooh Bear from Pooh, Blood and Honey, not like the nice Pooh Bear. I'm kind of okay with that. This man went to court to beg for more time with his daughters, and we all know how that ended. It's infuriating that any family court would listen to this man, irritating beyond all measure. A Washington man accused of taking his 3 young daughters reportedly pled with a judge for more time with them in recent custody hearings. In newly obtained audio, 32-year-old Travis Decker can be heard attempting to make his case to a judge during court hearings concerning custody arrangements with his 3 daughters. Now, Travis Decker and his ex-wife, Whitney Decker, were in the process of divorcing when she asked for a change in their custody arrangement. Now, in court documents related to their divorce, Whitney had described her estranged husband as unstable and stated that he was living a transient lifestyle with no reliable or consistent housing. Again, these should all be factors. Here's what I don't get about parents. You are in a transient, very, unstable environment. Wouldn't you, and I understand you miss your children, but your children also deserve to be in a stable place and not scared when they see you. So could we please think of the children first instead of the parents' feelings? Oh, just makes me so irritated. Now, he is the main suspect in the unaliving of all 3 girls who were found on June 2nd. Police believe that he, maybe is trying to flee toward the Canadian border. In the audio from a Chelan County court hearing on September 27th, 2024, obtained by local news outlet The Wenatchee World, Travis Decker can be heard making his case to be granted more time with his daughters. Now, Whitney had been given nearly full custody with scheduled visitations with the father every other weekend. However, Whitney Decker believed that her estranged husband's mental health was beginning to deteriorate, and it was believed by her that he was not going to his court-ordered treatment. He wasn't being faithful with either the medication or the therapy components or whatever was prescribed. Now, he was also living very transient, including living out of his truck, an RV, various campsites, motels, and an armory. So, she stated in court documents that the girls would cry to her over the phone, when they had to stay at the armory, and out of concern for their safety and, just their emotional state, Whitney had requested that the girls not have to stay overnight with their father while he's in this sort of transient position. Again, I get where some of this is trying to be a kindness and giving these children a fullness of family, but you have got to think, if they are crying, if they are uncomfortable, if he is mentally deteriorating, why do courts continue to push these kids in these dangerous situations? Now, in his, talk with the judge, he stated that he was taking the girls camping, which he had been doing since the 3 of them were in diapers, and he didn't believe that his weekend should be completely taken away because, every time he had the girls, or in the past, they would, camp at national forest or paid campsites or have campers. KCPQ, a local Fox affiliate, also obtained audio and reported on his defense for exposing his daughters to his lifestyle. I think it's important for the girls to understand a little bit about the world. No, they're children. Children and childhood is this beautiful time where Your biggest monster, at least when I was a little kid, was, Reptar and the mean kids at school. The greater world didn't, that's what is so beautiful about childhood. Childhood and being a parent is protecting your child from all of these sharp edges that the world has. Because there's going to come a day where life isn't going to blunt those. So you want them to have those good, soft memories to go back to. Reptar is a hero. We've never done anything that was unsafe or anything that I wouldn't put myself in. He also admitted, I understand that my current position myself is not ideal, but my daughters aren't a part of that. Anna Coswer, an attorney representing Whitney Decker, stated, "We're not trying to take the children away from Mr. Decker." KCPQ reported that Cosar added that the girl's mother just didn't want the children living out of a truck or a tent in someone's backyard. Again, very, very relevant, very, absolutely understandable. Judge Robert Jordan stated that while Travis Decker may have good intention, his living situation was not stable, and he granted Whitney's request for a change in the parenting plan. Now, KCPQ reported that when asked to sign the document agreeing to the new parenting plan, Travis Decker was heard saying, "And then nothing can change that, nothing, my signature doesn't matter anyway, right? So if I don't sign it, then..." Now, it is unclear whether he actually signed this new thing, this new kind of thing where those were taken out, or the girls were not given as much time. In the latest update on the search for Travis, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office stated that officials believe that they have tracked him to the Bellet Pass near Highway 97. Several agencies have joined the manhunt, including the U.S. Border Patrol, FBI, National Guard, and U.S. Marshal Service. Now, he is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder involving the deaths of his daughter. So, I don't know. Hopefully we can find him very quickly, but he does have experience with being an outdoors person. So living off the land is not going to be as much of a detriment to him as maybe other people. But I hope we find him because honest to goodness, I'm about done with, this trash bag person. Well, if you want to go look at the art in the Louvre, I know it's the Louvre. I'm just hoping Baker just shudders, like when I say the Aldi's. It's the Louvre's. Apparently, the staff is tired of you tourists, and they would like you all to stay away. Now, considering Paris isn't one of their main economic components tourism. That being said, don't be a douche canoe about being a tourist. Be kind, use your P's and Q's, your manners. Don't make the rest of us look bad. The Louvre, home to the Mona Lisa and other iconic works of art in Paris, closed abruptly Monday after the museum's staff staged an impromptu strike over a surge of tourists who were left standing in long lines. Ticket agents, gallery attendants, and security refused to return to work following a morning union meeting citing overcrowding and understaffing. After 4 hours of talks with management, it reopened to confused and tired visitors. Monday's strike comes after French President Emmanuel Macron announced earlier this year that the Louvre would undergo renovations to include a separate wing for the Mona Lisa to control crowds better. The new Renaissance project will repair and modernize the former royal palace and will take about a decade to complete. Ticket prices are slated to go up next year for tourists who do not live in the EU to help pay for the project. Well, I guess I'll just be building mine out of Legos. Last year alone, 8.7 million tourists visited, with many complaining about insufficient signage, tight spaces, and lack of restrooms. It was originally designed to accommodate about 4 million visitors per year. The president, Laurence Descartes, who was appointed in 2021, limited visitors to 30,000 a day after attendance surged in 2018 to more than 10 million. And he has warned that there are part of the museums that are no longer, fit for purpose, leading to fluctuating temperatures that could really damage artwork and things like that. So they do need to actually get this done. But, as when we're a tourist, we're a guest in other people's country. Let's not make them think that our chief export is douche canoes. I don't know who needs to hear that, but just don't be a douche wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Feels like something we should mostly know, but who knows? Well, in the serious news, a Chinese bank has been barred from offering customers free Labubu dolls. Is it a sloth? I don't know. It's cute. I mean, I'd open a bank account for one of them, to be honest. A Chinese bank was ordered to stop its practice of enticing new customers by offering them free dolls. Ping An Bank, based in Shenzhen, possibly, recently announced a promotion that would award new customers who deposited at least $7,000 and kept it in their account for at least 3 months with a popular stuffed toy sold by Pop Mart. The National Financial Regulatory Administration's Zhejiang branch is now barring the bank from offering the free toys and other non-banking related perks. Regulators are saying that they're concerned that the promotion and other similar promotions at other banks could drive up banking costs. Okay. So now everyone's taking home, their employees are taking home bunches of these dolls. What are they going to do with all these dolls? The dolls were created by artist Kessing Lung and are sold in blind boxes at Pop Mart locations. The dolls' cute monsters with sharp-toothed smiles became valuable collector's items after being sported by celebrities including Blackpink singer Lisa and Rihanna. Look, shows how much I'm up to date with things. I'm like, Blackpink? What the hell is that? And do what now? And her name is Lisa? Hey, she loved The Simpsons. I'm here for it. Well, I mean, they are pretty scary, so I would say that I would possibly crash my car if it was swarmed by cicadas, and by possibly, I mean totally would crash my car if it were surrounded by cicadas. Officials announced on Tuesday that a cicada attack had led to a car crash in the Cincinnati suburb of Blue Ash. Yep, see, one cicada on my car. That's exactly what happened. But I killed the sumbitch, didn't I? Yeah, Mr. Mo has to live with me. A photo shot after the incident shows a silver Kia laying on its side with a crumpled hood and hood and fender and a spider web of cracks streaking along the windshield. The Blue Ash Police Department cautioned drivers of cicadas flying into their vehicles and encouraged individuals to leave their windows up for the next several weeks. As you can see, a cicada attack can be dangerous, they said. Fortunately, no one was injured in this crash and the suspect fled the scene. Yeah, seriously. This happens, a cicada jumps into my car. No, we are done. Cicadas are flocking around southern Ohio and throughout the eastern U.S. this year and are part of a cohort known as Brood 19. Again, cicadas are evil. What did they do? I don't understand. I know the circle of life and Simba look at, the elephant graveyard. I don't get what they do. If I were on Noah's Ark, they never would have gotten with us. I mean, I'd have lost their RSVP. I wouldn't have invited them. I don't understand why we need cicadas. I don't understand what they do. They're weird looking demon bugs that are loud and noisy. Again, no purpose, cannot understand. That being said, I'm sure someone's going to put in the comments like, you understand that they helped in natural nitrite, cycle in the soil, and they're very, very valuable to the biodiversity of the Americas. And I'm going to be like, nope, they look like demons. If it looks like a demon, if it sounds like a demon, and it comes out every 17 years in a weird parody of it, we do not trust it. Pennywise is bad, cicadas are bad. In our final story, for a little bit of happiness, let's get into this. Free lobster. A New York restaurant has returned an 110-year-old lobster to the sea. With butter? A 21-pound lobster estimated to be about 110 years old was released back into the open sea by a New York seafood restaurant. Butch Yamali, owner of Peter's Clam Bar in Hampstead, Long Island, said that the lobster, named Lorenzo, had been living at the eatery for years. Lorenzo just kind of slipped through the cracks and ended up in our tank for years, Yamali told WPIX-TV. He said freeing Lorenzo seemed like an appropriate way to celebrate National Lobster Day and Father's Day. Now, some of these lobsters just don't live that long, and this one did. So we figured what a better way to celebrate Father's Day than by freeing Lorenzo. He became like a pet. People would come and see him and take pictures with him, and he was just an object of the store. Hempstead Town Supervisor Don Clavin and Nassau County Legislator John Ferretti teamed up with Peter's Clam Bar to pardon Lorenzo prior to his release at the Atlanta Beach Reef. He's now living his best life, clawing his way to freedom and soaking up the salty breeze instead of butter, the restaurant said in a Facebook post. Yamali says he was pleased to give Lorenzo a second chance at life in the wild. He's going to be missed, but I think it'll be better like this. If he passed away here, it wouldn't be a good thing, and I didn't have the heart to sell him. So there you go. Interesting. I did not know that. That being said, we had a crab boil last night. That's why the boys, if you didn't notice maybe the last 30 minutes of waiting for Verdict Watch, I had a youngest, most feral coming in. Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Because, I had to get the big pot of water started. And so he's like, are we ever going to eat? They had a blast. Although I will say crab legs I couldn't really taste them because I'm still sick. They had a blast, which is always good, but it's so much work and it's so much mess. And oh my gosh, I forget that every time I wait and we don't do it. But my kids had fun, and that's the important part. All about those memories. Will I remember the broken, crab shells and everything? No, but will I remember them smiling and them being so excited to get dinner when normally they're like, ugh, could I just have ramen noodles? So, try to always focus on being in the moment because we never know. I think so. I'm finally feeling better, but I am, honest to goodness, I feel like I did the Murph 3 days in a row. If you used to do CrossFit or anything, the Murph is like a mile run with a bunch of pull-ups and squats and things. So I just feel incredibly weak, which is, absolutely kind of dumbfounding considering all I did was get dressed and get made up this morning, and I could honestly take a nap. So I'm glad that we're just sitting down because I'm telling you, I'm going to start, eating more spinach. No, I'm not. I don't want to lie to you guys unless they come out with a pill that's spinach. I'm just never, ever going to eat spinach willingly unless it's made with bacon. And again, if you make spinach that tastes like bacon and I'll be sold. And then today I'm going to help Mr. Mo make a meatloaf, and and I make a big old recipe, so then we have, two sort of meals to go through. But I'm going to send you over to Baker. We are going to continue this crazy, the very worst criminals in the entire world, Little PD River case, with Miami Vice, father and sons, lawyers. It is all crazy. The prosecutor has crazy eyes. Let's see what color she's wearing today. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire. Because, you have to save yourself. We're not all going to get pardoned at 110 years old and put out into the sea. Bye, you guys.